Good afternoon, parents, family members and children, and welcome to the St Andrews School Virtual Principals Tour. My name is Marissa Brown and I'm the Public Relations Manager at St Andrews School. I will be your host for today. Today's presentation will take the form of a tour of our school via Zoom. It will include presentations from each of our leadership team and our registrar, short virtual tour videos and photographs of our key programs, events and activities at St Andrews School. Our presenters today will be Deb Darwood, our Principal, Heather Wood, our Deputy Principal of Learning and Teaching, Kathy Egar, our Head of Early Years, Nick Steele, our Deputy Principal Administration, and Helen Charles, our Registrar. The presentation, including questions and answers, will go for approximately 45 minutes. Each presenter will speak for approximately 5 minutes and will be available for a Q&A session at the end. A little bit of housekeeping for today's session. Your video and audio will be muted. You can submit your questions during the presentation via the Q&A icon at either the top or the bottom of the screen. A follow-up email will be sent after with links and further information about our school. If you miss part of the tour or would like another member of your family to be part of the tour, feel free to register for our session at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Our tour today will commence with a short video overview of St Andrews School. Presenter today is the St Andrews School Principal, Deb Darwood, who will speak about 170 years of excellence in primary education, our values and educational philosophy, our specialist curriculum, and our staff. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you, Marissa. It's great to see you all virtually and to share the story with you of St Andrews School, which has been 170 years in the making. St Andrews began in 1850 when the parishioners of St Andrews Church wanted to have a school that provided a meaningful education for the children of Walkerville. And that is what we still want to do today, something that's future focused, that provides the children with the abilities, the capabilities, the skills and knowledge to be successful wherever life takes them. We are a specialist primary school. That means that we cater for children 3 to 12, and they get all our resources, all the facilities, and primary school trained teachers who are caring, who want to provide a safe environment for learning, and who give all of their energy to knowing your child thoroughly so they can provide them with the best education possible. Our values are integrity, creativity, belonging, and success. In particular, we want our children to be creative, and having a sense of belonging means their well-being is well served for them to go on to be successful in whatever they undertake. We believe that the primary school is the most significant time of a child's learning. It gives them the strong literacies and building blocks for them to go on to whatever takes their fancy, that they are curious and capable when they arrive, and we just add to what you have already provided your children with as their first teachers. We believe in the whole child: academic, physical, social, emotional, and spiritual. And increasingly, we know that well-being is an important skill for the children to have: how to manage themselves, how to collaborate, and how to cooperate. As a primary school, we are very fortunate to have specialist areas of teaching. We have art and music, beginning in the ELC all the way to Year 7. Then we add PE and sport, and we add languages other than English, which is Italian in the junior primary up to the end of Year 3, and Mandarin Chinese ongoing. And we also have a social emotional program, You Can Do It, which is facilitated by the teachers but supported by our student counsellor. We understand that if you as parents work with us as the school and the students, and we have shared values, then we will have a successful time enjoying a strong community of learners at St Andrews Primary School. Thank you, everyone. I'll be here for questions at the end, should you have any.
Thank you, Deb. Our next presenter will be Heather Wood, our Deputy Principal of Learning and Teaching. Heather will be speaking with us today about the Year 1 to 5 curriculum, the Year 6 and 7 curriculum, how we support students, and the milestone events at our school. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Marissa. At St Andrews, we provide an exciting, rich curriculum that is designed for the specific needs of primary students as they journey through the school. As a primary school, we have a strong emphasis on foundational literacy and numeracy skills. We are an international baccalaureate school, and we deliver the primary years programme, the PYP. And this goes from ELC to Year 5. We cover the content of the Australian curriculum using the framework and the philosophy of the PYP. The PYP focuses on the development of the whole child and prepares students to become active, caring, lifelong learners who have the capacity to participate in the world around them. Our students are encouraged to have agency and learn to take control of their learning, developing important self-management skills. The PYP challenges students to think for themselves and take responsibility for their learning as they explore local and global issues. And the PYP journey culminates in a Year 5 student-directed exhibition where the students showcase their understanding of an issue important to them. In Year 6 and 7, the students also follow the Australian curriculum, and their learning is significantly enhanced by an exciting leadership programme that acknowledges the needs of early adolescents. Next year, 2021, is the final year that we will have Year 7 students at St Andrews, and we will still continue to offer the leadership programme in Year 6. The students take an active role in assemblies, run leadership action groups like the Soup Kitchen, assist with school tours, and represent the community at events and take part in team building and physical challenges such as the bike hike to Henley Beach and back. And all these opportunities help to develop resilience and confidence. We provide a broad and balanced curriculum that continues to further develop creative, critical and reflective thinkers. And we know that these are important indicators for future success. And this is particularly evident in the personal project, where students undertake a significant research project and create a product of their choosing. Past examples have included the design and the creation of a mini satellite. And as seen on the screen, a business selling organic dog biscuits. Our teachers are incredibly skillful at tailoring the learning for students, working alongside our learning support teams where appropriate for those students who may need that extra little bit of support, as well as providing increasingly challenging learning experiences for those students who require extension. We work closely in partnership with allied health professionals such as speech therapists and occupational therapists. And as Mrs. Darwood mentioned, student wellbeing is incredibly important at St Andrews. And we support our students through a personal growth programme with a strong emphasis on social and emotional development, working in conjunction with our school counsellor. We also have support structures in place for students with English as an additional language under the direction of our EALD teacher and her team. And our class sizes, up to 22 in junior primary and 25 in middle and upper primary, also mean that our teachers can give students the support that they need. Some of the other exciting things that happen at St Andrews include the Mind Lab programme, the Year 4 musical and the Over the Bridge celebration. Mind Lab is a game-based board games thinking skills programme, and this takes place in Year 3, 4 and 5. And students develop strategic thinking skills that can be transferred to other areas of their lives. The Year 4 musical this year is Aladdin, and our talented Year 4 students are currently honing their performing arts skills, as well as developing communication and collaboration skills. And the Over the Bridge celebration marks a traditional rite of passage at St Andrews, where we celebrate the next step of learning when our young students move to the upper primary campus. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the tour. I'm available for questions at the end.
Thank you, Heather. Our next presenter is Kathy Eager, our Head of Early Years. Kathy will be speaking with us today around our Reggio Emilia philosophy, our curriculum, the International Baccalaureate and Early Years Learning Framework, a typical day in the ELC, and a typical day in reception. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, Marissa. Well, I have the absolute pleasure in welcoming the youngest members of our St Andrews School community to the school as 3-year-olds in our Early Learning Centre. Every year, 4 times a year, in January, April, July and October, we welcome a group of 3-year-olds, or they could be starting a little bit older, into our ELC. Every 6 months, we then have the opportunity to move our older children, those that are 4, or even 4.5, up to our 4-year-old program, and also then our children that are in Harvick ELC, our 4-year-old program, up to reception as part of our January reception program or our mid-year reception program. In every room, we'll have 2 to 3 teachers, depending on the number of children in each room. We could have on any particular day, we may have between 15 and 25 children, and then staff are allocated according to those numbers, with some days being a bit more popular than other days. The programs that we run in our ELC in both sites is the Early Years Learning Framework, commonly known as ELF. We follow the principles of the Reggio Emilia, and we also begin the International Baccalaureate program, the PYP, as 3-year-olds. And we find that these 3 programs blend beautifully together, and it's such a rich environment of inquisitive minds, curiosity, and lots of genuine research taking place. We're very fortunate as an early learning centre to belong to a school, to St Andrews School, where we are able to access all the facilities and the specialist staff that the rest of the school also are able to access. For example, 3 times a week, our specialist art teacher will come and take art classes in small groups in both ELC sites. Twice a week, our specialist music teacher will come and also take lessons. And by having these operate on different days, it also supports as many children as possible, having that opportunity to spend time with specialist staff across the school so that they can rotate the days in which they get to enjoy these activities. Our ELC operates during term time, but then in the school holidays, we swap over to a vacation care program. This supports many of our families from ELC, reception, year 1 and year 2, so that they can have the opportunity for care if families work during the school holidays. To make it a little bit different to families, we do say that children can wear their casual clothes and they can come and go as they please between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Another thing that would make it a little bit different is that we wouldn't be offering jumping castles or ride-on ponies during term time, but they certainly have access to special events like that during the vacation care program. The ELC is also CCS eligible, which means that those families that are able to get a government rebate, the school is connected to that facility, and you will be able to access that through Centrelink, just as you would in any other childcare facility. And that is actually for ELC to year 2 during the vacation care program as well. We operate and start our mornings from 8:10, but for some of our families, they might need care before that. And so as part of the school's before school care program, which is held in a building next door to or just near the ELC, they are able to go to before school care from 7:15 a.m. And then the staff from there will walk the children a short distance up to the ELC and do a proper handover to the ELC staff. At the end of the day, we have a staggered finish. Our 3-year-olds can finish at 3:10, our 4-year-olds can finish at 3:20, and then, of course, the school finishes at 3:30. And this does help a little bit with traffic management around the streets as well. For families that need longer care, the ELC does stay open until 6 p.m, again with ELC staff that will work throughout the day. So we have the consistency for the children. We are fortunate to have a wonderful catering team in our ELC who provide wonderful meals for our children and for the lucky staff who get to enjoy those meals with the children. At lunchtime each day, we replicate that lovely ideal of a family sitting around a table, enjoying a meal and a conversation together. And this is really a lovely opportunity for some of those lovely stories to come out from children as well, and conversations to be shared. It also helps children because the staff can be modelling and supporting children and using cutlery, because for some of our children, it might be a fairly new experience. Some of their favourite meals might be chicken pad thai or buttered chicken with rice, seasonal vegetables and papadums. The 4-year-old program feeds straight into the reception at either January or July, and the images you are seeing now are part of our reception area. In the centre we have a piazza area where it is very similar to the 2 ELC sites, and it provides a shared community and welcoming place for both families and children alike. It is another learning space, and we do celebrate all our rooms as part of the Reggio Emilia philosophy as being the 3rd teacher, and you will see many opportunities for children to be engaged in a lot of collaborative play in all those spaces. We have our mid-year reception intake is for July, and for the children that have a birthday from May 1st to October 31st. By having a mid-year reception intake, it does allow those children who are ready to take that next step to not have to wait until they are 5 and 9 months. But also for some children that might not be quite ready, they also have that opportunity to spend a little bit longer in the ELC. And the teachers guide parents and support them in some of those conversations around when your child is ready to start reception. And we're lucky to have 2 opportunities for our children in that regard. The transition to reception is seamless. It's actually only a 20-minute walk from the ELC to reception because it is all under the one building. I'm sorry, 20-metre walk. I think I just said then 20. minute, and I meant 20-metre walk. I think 20 minutes would be a little bit tricky for our 4 and 5-year-olds. The uniform is the same, with a few little additions such as a formal school blazer. They are familiar with all the teachers from reception, and they have many opportunities, both formal and informally, to play in the reception area. The flow of children throughout the school, when they start from the ELC to the reception, as I said, is very smooth, but it even continues before they start the ELC with the opportunity to join our play group. The play group is open for children from birth to 3 years of age. Families can come once a week, or they may be able to come every Monday morning from 9:15 to 10:30. It just offers another way to ease a transition into the start of the ELC. Families are welcome to attend with their children, and it allows a lovely opportunity to make those connections very early on. I'll be available for any questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Our next presenter is Nick Steele, our Deputy Principal of Administration. Nick will be sharing with us information about our co-curricular program, including sport, music, and a range of electives, our camps and tours, our library and technology at St Andrew's School. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Marissa. Yes, you've heard a lot about the wonderful St Andrew's curriculum at the early years and in the primary years from both Heather and Kathy. And one of my areas of responsibility is the co-curricular program. The co-curricular program provides additional opportunities for students to choose activities that complement the curriculum. It has 3 main areas: sport and other representative teams, music and electives. The sport program complements the physical education curriculum by enabling students in years 3 to 7 to participate in weekly training and matches. We offer a full range of summer and winter sports, and competition is generally against teams from other independent schools. Students with high levels of ability in particular sports are able to represent the district or the state through SAPSASA competition. This year we established both a tennis and soccer academy for students who have particular passion and talents for those sports. We hold annual sports days, a swimming carnival and cross-country runs. Students can also represent the school in debating, chess, Mind Lab, Da Vinci Decathlon and Tournament of the Minds. They're representative opportunities in non-sport activities that often involve problem solving or cognitive skills. In the music program, all students receive a comprehensive music education via curriculum lessons and participation in the choir, recorder, strings and brass programs. In the co-curricular program, students may also elect to have individual or small group lessons in a multitude of instruments or voice. Once students are ready, they are invited to join the ensemble program, which consists of weekly rehearsals and opportunities to perform at our major events, which are numerous throughout the year. The last strand of the co-curricular program are electives, and in addition to sport and music, we offer a wide range. Activities like art, ICT and drama clubs, as well as lessons in Mandarin, Greek and Hindi are available to students in the target year levels. We also offer a specialised gymnastics and tennis program. Camps and tours are part of the curriculum, and we firmly believe that developing our students' independence is a core purpose of our school. The camps, of course, contribute to that, but there are other activities and leadership opportunities which range from responsibilities at classroom level to the formal leadership positions. Year level camps also form a big part of this journey, which begin in year 2 with a stay back and progress through a number of camps held in the Adelaide Hills and the Southern Fleurieu Peninsula. We also have a long history of holding study tour to Canberra, as well as international study tours. Technology is not really a curriculum area, it's a tool that supports our learning or the students' learning, and it is an important tool, but it's not an end in itself. The school has a full wireless network and each classroom has an interactive whiteboard or a large display screen. Students in years 5, 6 and 7 have their own school-supplied iPad as well as access to laptops and other ICT hardware. The younger students have access to a significant number of shared devices per year level, as well as additional access via our library. We are lucky to have a specialist STEM teacher operating in years 5, 6 and 7, and are looking forward to the construction of a new multi-purpose technology centre in the near future. Thanks for attending the tour. I'll be happy to answer any questions during the Q&A later in the session.
Thank you, Nick. Finally, we will hear from Helen Charles, our registrar. Helen will be taking you through our enrolment processes prior to commencement, how to apply for a position at St Andrew's School, and a little further information about our playgroup. Welcome, Helen.
Thank you very much, Marissa, and welcome everybody. Just to give you some information about the interview process for families coming into St Andrew's School. If you are interested in entering the ELC, you'll be invited to come in and catch up with Kathy Eager, the Head of Early Years, for a student profile meeting, which will take approximately 15 to 20 minutes, plus an orientation morning for about an hour and a half, and that's usually conducted in the term prior to the start date for your child. If you're interested in a position from reception through to Year 7, we would ask you to come in and catch up with Deb Dalwood, our principal, for an interview. Please bring with you any school reports that you may have, NAPLAN results, any allied health reports that you have, or anything else that just to help us understand your child and ease the transition process. If applying for a position, do have a look at our website, as all the information is actually available there for you. And we'll also again ask you to attach the child's birth certificate, a visa if you are not an Australian citizen, again any allied health reports, school reports, or anything else again that you've actually got to help us understand your child. We also suggest that if you can, to apply for a position at least a couple of years out. For the Early Learning Centre, we do sometimes find that the days that you're actually looking for are not available, so hence the earlier that you can get that application form in, the better. And hence that we don't want any families to sort of miss out on those days, and those days will also be confirmed when you catch up with Kathy. Kathy also mentioned the playgroup. Again, it's a great way for you to come and have a look at the school and just get a feel for the Early Learning Centre prior to them starting. And as mentioned, it's $5 a session. Come along when you actually can. There's no need to book, and we'd certainly love to see you there. If you have any further questions about enrolments or anything to do with the application process, please give me a call, and I look forward to hopefully catching up with you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. So that ends our formal presentations. Now we will have some time for questions and answers. So I see that we've had some questions coming through Zoom, and we've also had a number of questions submitted to us prior to today's session. So thank you for that. Just a note, if we don't get a chance to answer your question today, we will be getting back to you after the session with those answers. You can also email Helen directly on registrar@standrews.sa.edu.au if you would prefer to ask your question that way. So I have some questions here for our principal, Deb, so I will welcome Deb back to answer those for you.
Thank you, Marissa.
Okay, Deb, so we have a question here around the school's Anglican heritage and whether it is required that you are Anglican and about church services at our school.
Yes, the school has a long history of being associated with St Andrew's Church, but we are a liberal Anglican school. We welcome people of all denominations and all faiths, or really of no faith. There is an expectation that the children will go to church with their classroom teacher in the ELC once or twice a term, also in junior primary once or twice a term, but from 3 to 7 they'll go weekly and attend a service conducted by our chaplain. We like the Anglican way of doing things because what it encourages is children to be curious, questioning and discerning. And so conversations about all things spiritual are encouraged. And we do have values that really are underpinned by the love of your neighbour and also by doing no harm. So really those values within this context of the Anglican education give our children a wonderful set of values.
Thank you, Deb. Another question here, does St Andrews have scholarships available to students?
We do have some scholarships. They take the form of an academic scholarship, which is given to students once they complete an examination but run by ACER, and that generally happens in February of each year. And they are, for children who sit them would be in year 3, 4 or 5. Now, when we become an ELC to year 6 school, we'd encourage children to sit them in year 3 for year 5, 4, 5 and 6. We also have Muse scholarships. The children are expected to be of a certain grade in the AMEB, but also to come and play for our Director of Music and to ensure that they add to the quality of our musical ensembles. If they are given a scholarship, they are expected to be part of our ensembles.
And Deb, a question here. Where do the students generally go to high school?
Our students are given such a wonderful grounding that any secondary school or high school welcomes them with open arms. Many of the children, depending on your choice as a family, will continue to a co-ed school. It may be an independent school or it may be a state school. Other families choose to go to an independent boys' school or girls' school. Sometimes the choice is because of family history. Sometimes it's what the school offers and how it matches your children's interests and talents. And it may be that the school you choose is close for you to get to so that your children as teenagers can get to school just by themselves. It's really up to the families. And I would advise them once they're in about year 3 to look at the school because they'll understand what their child's interests are and how they are coping academically. And then they can ask the right questions of the secondary school that they're looking at going to.
Just a final question here for you, Deb, that was submitted to us beforehand. What are the benefits of sending your child to a separate independent school in primary school versus sending them from R to 12 all the way through?
I think that we are primary only. All of our energy goes to primary school students. The facilities that they enjoy rival those that secondary students have at some of our competitor schools. Our teachers focus on getting to know your child and their needs and are able to tailor the learning and pass on information so that every transition, whether it's ELC to reception, year 3 to 4, is smooth and seamless. I believe that if your child sees themselves as a competent learner and is able to have the knowledge that they can ask questions and think critically, then it doesn't matter where their journey takes them, high school, university, work, they will be set up. And that begins with thinking of yourself as a great learner right from the beginning of school.
Thank you, Deb. Our next questions are for our Deputy Principal of Learning and Teaching, Heather Wood. So I'll ask Heather to come back and join us to answer those questions for you. Welcome back, Heather.
Thank you.
A question that's come through here online. How does the school support students who have social or emotional difficulties?
As I think I mentioned earlier, that's particularly important to us at St Andrews. For students to feel supported in social and emotional development will mean that they can be achieving in other areas as well. We work very closely with the school counsellor, and we have a number of programs throughout the school targeted for the specific needs of those year levels to focus specifically on those skills. For example, things like What's the Buzz? And we use the You Can Do It program. We have something in school that runs all the way through called the 5 Keys to Success, and that strongly supports the social and emotional development.
Thanks, Heather. Another question here. How do we support children where English is a second language?
When students begin school and as part of the enrolment process, we are able to do an initial assessment of the students' language skills. That's conducted by our specialist teacher. And that really gives us a good indication as to what we need to do to support those students when they start. And that might be through modifying the programs and the curriculum in terms of vocabulary and the way that we present materials to students. It could be through in-class support and small group support. It could be with supporting families in the translation of key documents, whatever is really required.
Thank you, Heather. And just one final question. How does the school keep parents informed of school information and activities?
We have many ways that we communicate with parents, informally and formally. We use Seesaw, which is a digital portfolio platform, which we use for sharing. It's like a window into the classroom where we can show videos and photos and samples of students' work. And that really gives parents a really good idea of what's happening in real time in the classroom, as well as the sort of more formal reporting of written reports twice a year. And also we have parent-teacher interviews. We welcome communication with parents throughout the day, but really it's different points of time that parents require. For example, it could be a quick chat in the morning just so that we know of something that's important for that child, to a more formal appointment where we can dedicate time for an extended conversation.
Thank you, Heather. So now we have some questions for Kathy Eagar, our Head of Early Years, and a reminder to send any questions you have through the Q&A button at either the top or the bottom of your screen. Welcome back, Kathy.
Thank you.
So a question here around waiting lists. So I know Helen did mention that before. This is specifically around the ELC and how long parents might need to wait to get a place.
We encourage families, as soon as you know or you are looking for care, to fill out the enrolment form for the ELC, and as Helen had mentioned previously, to then you're able to actually nominate your preferred days as well. We do have days that tend to be Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday that are our busiest, so we encourage you as soon as you know to actually fill out those forms. Things can always be changed later on, but we do find that the families that are most successful in getting the days that they want do so maybe 2 years in advance. But you can always try right up to, if you're new to the state, you never know, there might be those opportunities to still be able to get in. It just depends on the days that you're requiring.
Thanks, Kathy. Another question here. Do we start music lessons as early as 4 years?
Yes and no. We actually start music lessons as early as 3 years. So children, if they start in the ELC before they get to reception, could potentially have 2 years already of instructional music lessons from a specialist music teacher. This will be an appreciation and managing to play and explore with a variety of percussion instruments. It could be visiting the Performing Arts Centre and using the keyboards there, standing alongside a double bass, which can be quite exciting for a little 3-year-old. It could be trying to reach over the top of a timpani or learning to make some sounds on some of the bigger instruments that are associated with some of our senior ensemble bands and concert bands. It's just a wonderful opportunity. The other part of music is music appreciation. So the children, when we go to whole school assemblies, have the opportunity to listen, enjoy, clap, join in, and listen to some of our ensembles at those assemblies. Music is a very, very big and special part of St Andrew's School.
Indeed it is. Thank you, Kathy. Just a final question here. This parent would like a bit more detail about our after-school care program, perhaps the hours that runs for.
Sure. The 3-year-old program finishes at 3:10, when you can be pick up from 3:10, and the 4-year-old from 3:20. And as soon as that finishes, the after-school care program is held inside the ELC building, the 3-year-old building. That will stay open until 6 o'clock, and during that time, children will come together. Every day I hear them singing their welcoming song as they welcome all the children into the group. So it starts another settling of the children as part of the next part of their day. After that, they might go for some outdoor play, some indoor play, some craft activities, and then at anywhere between 4:30 and 5 p.m, some additional food will be offered, which is in addition to the afternoon tea that would have been provided to them at around 2:30. So, and you book on the day or as a casual, or you can book every day if you wish. There's lots of different ways to book into it. Sometimes you might not know that you need it until 2:30, and so you just notify us in the ELC that you'll need care for that day, and that's absolutely fine.
And just a final question here, Kathy. If a child is enrolled in the ELC, is it assumed that they will take up a position in reception at St Andrew's School?
Yes, it is. And I guess we are fortunate that probably between about 80 to 90% of our children every 6 months do continue on to reception at St Andrew's. And that's why we're able to have starting next term, we'll be offering 2 mid-year reception classes as well, where we have 37 children from the ELC who will be moving up to create 2 new mid-year reception classes.
Thank you, Kathy. So that finishes our Q&A session, and we thank you very much for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the tour. As I mentioned at the start, we'll be sending out further information via email, so look out for that. That will include links to the full virtual tour on our website, parts of which you have seen this afternoon. I'll leave you with a short video overview of the exciting next stage of the school's master plan, which Nick mentioned earlier. This will see a purpose-built educational facility commencing construction in the near future. So for those of you looking to have your child start with us in the next year or two, they will certainly be able to take advantage of those amazing new facilities. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.